Good morning everybody, and I'm up super early today. If you can't tell by my voice and my puffy face, I'm tired. But we have the Northern Ireland Festival to go to this morning, so it is currently 5 o'clock and I have to get Jimmy ready. I didn't bother bathing him last night because he was outside. They're all out now full time, and yeah, so it's going to be an early start and I'm tired. Really tired. But to start off the morning, I had to get a soapy bucket of water ready for Mr. Jimmy because he needed a bath badly. Like I said before, there was absolutely no point in me giving him a bath the night before because Kate, Jimmy and Poppy are all out in the side field for the moment, and it was just pointless because he would have been bogging the next day. So obviously, to entice him in, I made up a bucket of mash and went over to see him. I was going to use it as backup if he decided that absolutely not, he was not being caught. But he was a good boy and he stood for me to get his head collar on, and then I just brought him up into the yard and started the process of getting him ready for the Northern Ireland Festival. To make this process a little bit nicer for Jimmy, I did make him up a hay net and then I started into his tail. The hay net was in fact to bribe him to stand lovely and still because this was not nice. I don't have a hot wash. I wish I did, but I don't. So it was just cold water, and it was just to make the fact that he was in fact being bathed with cold water that little bit nicer instead of having to stand, because I know rightly he would have been all wriggly everywhere and not wanting to stand one bit. So it did work and he was mostly happy throughout the whole ordeal. Now that he has been washed, sprayed down and scraped off, it is time to start into his tail. So to start off with, I always overdose their tail with Cartier and Martin mane and tail spray, and then I go into brushing their tail just to make it that little bit easier. The hair doesn't really get stuck in the brush, it more just glides through and makes the whole experience a whole lot nicer for the horse. Because there was a little patch of mane rubbed off over the winter due to his rug, I have started the plaits in the middle, trying to disguise that small patch of hair into the rest of the plaits. So I'm working from the middle, and then I work down towards the withers, and then I work up towards his ears, and then finally I left his forelock until we were at the show so that he could rub his head on the hay net the whole way there and it wouldn't affect anything.
once we arrived at Cavan Equestrian Centre, we did check on Jimmy, make sure that he was all good, give him a drink of water, and then we went to get some breakfast. And this was our view from the canteen, and it was wonderful, just throwing us straight into the horsey world, and we were having the time of our lives. I am just currently in the middle of budding Mr. Jimmy up, but I have the problem of this bit. It was absolutely destroyed and rubbed away by his rug over winter, which, I'll be honest, that's the first time that has ever happened to me with a horse. But we're going to try and do something with it, and even if I have to cut a wee bit of his tail and make it into a plait, that's what we're going to do. But isn't he looking so smart? Look, your son, he's a smart boy. This is the culprit, and it's actually not too bad. I've got it all together, but it is considerably smaller than the rest of them. He's got quite a thick mane, so. Job done. I think there's 3 classes in front of me, but I'm going to stand and I'm going to plait his tail real well, so come along for the journey. Now I have Jimmy's front end plait. I'm now going to plait his tail, but first of all I'm going to use this Easy Plait solution and give it a good spray up around the top where I'm going to be plaiting, and then start. To start this process off, I first of all take off his tail bandage, and then I take out the lovely plait that my friend Jeffrey put in while I was getting ready to come down the road. I give his tail up round the top a good dose of the Easy Plait solution, and then I get to plaiting. So I have not done this in a long time. So I got about halfway down his tail, decided that it was far too wonky, and had to restart again because OCD and all that fun stuff. So the second time was a lot more successful, and I was a lot more pleased, although it could have done with being a little bit better in my opinion. Because Jimmy will be standing in the box for a little while longer, just to protect the plait that I've just done, I put his tail bandage back on just so he didn't rub it out and undo all of the work I had just done. We put it back on, and I made sure that he was quite happy. Obviously he was happy, he had lots of hay nets. And then we went on to the show. And look at my gorgeous boy walking in there, all forward and stuff. I can't believe how good he looked. This is his first time at a show of this size, and he took it impeccably well. I was actually so proud of how he was so relaxed, even though we didn't get to warm up really. We got 3 jumps, a walk, trot and canter, and it was all so rushed. For him to stay so relaxed, I was so proud of him. Before we started, I just made sure I got the eye of the judge and give him the nod before I started, and then we picked up trot and nicely picked up canter and made our way to our first fence, which is down at the bottom. So he jumped everything really well. He didn't really go backwards into anything, but we did have one pull down between jump 2 and 3, and this was because he got a wee bit close. Like, he got close into that first one. So he got close into the second one. Between 2 and 3 and 3 and 4, all the strides were very long, but it was just one of those things, and fortunately for us, do in fact get to take part in the evening performance later on after this. So I was really pleased about that. this class there is a ridden judge, which means once you have completed your jumping phase and you have done the show round phase, you then have to line up and the judge will go on and have a go on your horse. So basically they do exactly the same as what you would do. You would do walk, trot, canter and a gallop, and then return back to walk and halt. And yeah, it all went so well. Jimmy was the best boy. Jimmy has actually had a few different riders on his back, which I definitely think helps, because he's not just used to me as a rider. He has been used to lots of different riders and different ways of going, and he has always been the number one good boy, which you can all expect because that is just Jimmy's nature. He is a golden retriever in horse form. There was only one little bit that he done wrong in this whole test, well, maybe two. When he was coming down into the trot again to take off onto the other rein, he did strike off on the wrong leg, which will most likely have brought him down a few points. And then in his gallop, he wasn't just as forward as you would like for a gallop. Jimmy hasn't had much experience in doing a gallop with a rider on his back, which is my fault. I should have been practicing that sort of thing with him. But yeah, he was very good. He did lengthen his stride a little bit whenever the judge asked, but he didn't take off flying, which I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. A lot of the other horses were just taking off at speed, and Jimmy just went round, nice as you like, in his golden retriever mode and didn't really think much about it. He then came back into his trot lovely walk and then stood as if he had done a hard day's work, which, to be fair, it was a long day for him. We were up so early to get down there in time, and look at me. I was standing like a wee mum watching her kid go off to school for the first time. I just couldn't wait to get him back. Once the judge had finished her piece, she then walked over to me and hopped off, and she seemed very happy. She was actually a really lovely lady. And then it was time to trot the horses up, but I don't actually have any videos of that. Nobody got any, but it was a wee bit boring anyway, so you probably didn't want to see it. Jimmy! Hello, son. You good boy? So we have just finished the course and we've done our trot around and our showpiece and whatever else. Jimmy's currently eating his hay net, but we are waiting now to see if we are getting into the evening performance. I think it takes about an hour from finish of the class to finding out whether we're in the evening performance. So fingers crossed. I really hope we get in, but I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't. We did have one pulled down, but he did ride lovely out round it, and for the ride judge he was excellent, so here's hoping. That right, son? Here's hoping. Once we had finished our ride around in the evening performance, it was then time to line up for the prize giving, and I was actually so excited. So this is the start. I was sitting there, I had all expectations that we were coming last and we weren't actually going to get any sort of decent placing, but 8th went up, 7th went up, 6th went up, and then my name was called, and I was actually so pleased. I was sitting there wondering, why is my name not being called yet? Because we aren't perfect. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just following the crowd, and there's people in this ring with me that do this for a job. So quite taken aback that the judges actually thought that Jimmy should be placed where he was placed and not at the bottom of the lineup, because he is still growing. You know, he's got a lot to fill out. He's a big horse, and compared to all the other horses, like, he's not as developed at all. Beside that, I was actually so pleased with how he done. I was just happy to get a rosette. I'm not going to lie. And yet, for the person that won, I was actually so pleased. I had a really big smile on my face for them. It was just so good. It was such a lovely environment. And of course, Jimmy was standing there thinking of all the places he would rather be other than in this arena, the head on him. And look at the big smile on my head. I was actually so happy. I had to have a wee look round to find my biggest supporter.
Rock Room, Free Spirit the second, 6-0-2. Second, Wellerman and Luke Corin. Third to Higher Power. Fourth to Brenda Skip. While fifth is scored to Abigail Riding. MC Avalux. While sixth to Dol Clyde Grooming.
So it is the next day and I am exhausted. I don't think we got home until... When did we get home? I think it was close to 12 by the time we got home from Cavan last night. And yeah, I'm tired, so I'm just going down to check on the horses and get them some hay. And then I gotta go home and get Blue and relax. So I'll show you the ponies now. Jimmy, are you tired? Oh no. He's not for getting up anyway. Is that right, Poppy? He's not getting up. Jimmy's tired too. It was a long day. It's such a long day. But I will get them some hay now and yeah, continue on with my day because I am exhausted. She knows it's coming. Alright, Poppy? You know what's happening here. So Jimmy definitely said that was enough of being squeaky clean. I decided that last night was the night that he was going to get absolutely bogging. Fair play to him. None of the rest of them are like that. It's just Jimmy. He has went on a rampage clearly because why would he need to be so clean? He has no idea.